Hey, everybody, it's Tuesday, April 18th, 2023. That is a surprise to me. I haven't been looking at dates at all, but I've been looking at the episode number because I forgot what it was before this, and it is episode 785 of the Giant Bombcast. I'm your host today, Jan Ochoa, co-captain of the ship. He's ready to get cold because I guess the cold 5 season is heating up, which doesn't make sense to me. They should be wary about skating on the ice. Jeff Grubb.
Yeah, hockey playoffs are starting. Welcome to the Hockey Cast. Here we go. I'm going to talk about it probably. Actually, I'll spare y'all. We talked about it before, so we got it out of our systems.
Let's talk about more sports then. Jeff Bacalar, how do you feel about Draymond Green stomping on someone?
Oh, I heard about that. Yeah, that's not a big deal. Get over it. I realize all the other sports have to like tremble in fear over what is the NHL playoffs. I realize like you have to go all out and do some crazy stepping on people antics to make people pay attention to your playoffs. That's cute. It's adorable. You just can't hang with the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs. But I wish you all the best with your baskets and your innings and whatever.
And last but certainly not least, our special guest. If I had a big giant button to light a beam for him, I would. So maybe I'll go to Sacramento and win a basketball game so I can light the beam for our special guest, Alex Boniello.
I don't know what the beam thing means.
So in Sacramento, they got really hyped, and they have a giant button, and then when they hit it, it's like a giant beam shoots out of their arena.
Oh.
It's like when Donald Duck shot off a Zetaflare, but continuously, and no one has to die.
Did I tell you I asked him about that?
Donald Duck?
Yeah, I asked Donald Duck recently at Disney, and I asked him like what the deal with all that was. And God bless this person who just yes-anded my question. They did a lot. Donald Duck did say like no big deal. You know what I mean? Like with a lot of hand movements was like, yeah, that's just like a day. It's a day at work for me. And I was like, the implications are horrifying.
This is why Alex is my favorite person.
Alex, you do realize that's because this is definitely not the first time some nerd has asked him about the Zetaflare.
So
Probably
here's
not
the
even
thing,
the first
actually.
time that day.
Yeah.
I can say for a 100% fact that it was the first time Donald Duck dressed as Tron was asked that.
Okay,
So
all right, that I'll give you.
I can absolutely, yeah. It was I was there for no joke, the soft launch of seeing the guys in their Tron
seeing
units.
the boys. Sure, yeah.
I saw them all. Don't worry.
Oh, wow.
Well, we should get on more soft launching of ducks and other birds on this program. How's everyone doing? I'm doing terrible right now. I am so
Tell us
upset.
what's going on.
I talked about it on the pre-show. I feel like your boy being me, I have to cut down on the coffee because I think I'm getting too anxious. I'm getting too worked up all the time. I know it's a part of my personality trait. I've really forced it into being like my thing on top of gambling, which I guess it shouldn't also be my thing because that also causes a lot of tension.
Stress and gambling, my two personality traits. Jan, we got to talk.
So I thought, let's switch to matcha. This is going to be good. This is going to be fun times. And I need to drink so much of this stuff just to get my eyes open.
Just to feel alive, yeah.
I need the spike that coffee gets me, but this matcha is taking too long, y'all. I've had 3 of them already.
Well, I'm going to get into that with you.
Just do it.
Please,
yeah,
please.
How many grams of beans a day would you say you normally drink?
Okay.
Bean grams.
60. So 30.
60's bad. Okay, 60's. It's not. That's a lot, Jan. I was about to be like, it's not that bad. I was like, that's a lot. Well, especially if you're like, you know what you're doing and you're making the real stuff. It's happening. So why don't you do this? All right. Because I don't think this. You're already entering matcha with like with the wrong dude. You know what I mean? You're already like, this is a failure. So I think you should not pretend that you like matcha, and I think you should instead go down to 30 grams of beans a day.
Okay.
And then just get a really good decaf bean.
Ooh, that's a good shout. I did get a good decaf bean, and I think I was drinking it more just because I like the taste. And then I'm realizing I may actually have a problem versus needing the caffeine. Okay. All right.
Yeah. It tastes good. Coffee tastes good.
That's true. Coffee does taste good.
It's so good.
Is it time to just go get Adderall, Jan? I mean, is it time?
Whoa.
I'd like to
he's self-medicating. I can see it. I know it when I see it.
I feel like it's important I remember that this is in fact an audio podcast because I'm shaking my head big no at that. So I want the record to show, and those of you who have downloaded this in your favorite podcast feed.
Well, I'm going to nod vigorously to offset that. There we go.
That was less of a nod, Grub, and that was more of like a small, tiny jump to just like force your head to like get into the zone here.
Yes. Talk to your medical professional. I don't know.
I'll take your advice, Alex. I'll go down lower, and then the worst part about this was I put it in an order for a nice fancy coffee grinder, and I'm just looking at it. And I'm like, can't use it. I got the niche. Niche.
Okay.
Niche zero.
I have a Tim Moore.
Ooh.
It's okay. I want that one that's $300, but that's not for my tax bracket.
I was at a place where it was like a Cuisinart that ground the beans and did the coffee all in one.
No, you don't want it all in one, dude.
Nope. That's like shampoo and conditioner in one. That's very.
It doesn't actually do anything. Doesn't actually do anything.
What's funny about that is
it doesn't do anything. It does a lot of things, Jan.
I got more upset about that than Grub suggesting that Jan should start an Adderall habit. I was like, Adderall habit, I don't like that. But to use
I didn't say crush it up and snort it, but yeah, fair enough.
No, yeah, you gotta. No.
You're right. What Beckler said, way more offensive. I agree.
Yeah, I'm a piece of shit. Totally.
Fantastic, Alex. You know what? For that for lending me your expertise, I would like to give you 12 podcast points, and also,
wow,
something that I think we've done this. We've given this to a person before, but Alex Boniello. This week on the Giant Bombcast, you're the game of the week, Alex Boniello.
Yeah, and so now congrats. I want you to imagine the JoJo time to play the game, and then just imagine me walking down to the ring shirtless to get into the ring and do the air spit.
Oh, I already was. I already imagined.
Thank you.
That.
Thank you.
I mean, that's our pre-pro ritual. We just don't tell you.
Right. I do want to get this on the rails, but really quickly, I want you to know that I'm not, everybody listening at home, I'm not going to be contributing to the shoot or the work.
You're doing it right now.
You just did it. I saw you yesterday and you were doing it.
What else did I do yesterday? I looked Dan in the eyes and I said, you can't actually be talking like that, Dan. You got to knock that off.
Was that when he was asking if a clam was alive?
Wait.
That was when Dan was asking if a clan was alive.
We can't get into this. We can't. No, Grub.
It was sweet.
Just walk back. Just walk back.
I want to hang on.
I'm
gonna walk it back, and I'm gonna give Dan a little bit of credit, just a little bit, and then we're gonna get it on the rails. Okay. This came up because we were at a vegan restaurant because I am vegan, and I am the one who said that oysters to vegans. Some people do not believe that oysters are. Like you could eat an oyster if you're vegan because there's something about them not having central nervous system. So Dan was also like, what about a clam? And he's like our clams shoot alive? And I was like, so you're not going to do that. But like that's like what it was. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Maybe the funniest sentence that's ever been said.
Dude, that's why we had to say it because it was so insane. I almost left the lunch.
I get it though. I get it.
Yeah.
He was really like, he's like, well, what are they? And I'm just like, they're animals, man. Yeah.
They're definitely life forms, but so are plants. So
right.
I like life form. Yeah. Life form.
A clam seems more alive than a tree, right? If we're just calling it what it is.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
Who are we?
Who are we? You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Who are we to cast this to bring down the
clams
hammer
can
that.
shut their mouth and they're like
they're like maracas.
Yeah, that's way more alive.
I did that I did that at the lunch. I did this. I said no. Like imagine like.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's how they do it.
It goes back to the question. It goes back.
It's really
thank you,
good. You're
Scoop,
just like
but
really accurate, Alex.
it does go back
really
to the
good.
question that Dan did ask on Back to School when he asked,
Is grass a fish?
And
I haven't gotten over that. I don't think I've been the same person since then. I think I split into a different person.
It was a sliding door moment for you. It's like your life would have been so different had you never heard that.
Yeah. I saw it in his eyes, though. He meant it, man, yesterday. Yesterday, he fucking meant it. He meant it with all of his will, all of his being. He was just it's like, is because the clam alive?
You know what? He's going to live to 120 and be able to tell so many tales.
Right.
Because he'll be like the smartest person in the world because he's just asking everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
And his dad's going to be 140 and they're going to be doing a podcast together.
Oh, lovely. Lovely.
I would listen. They would get my $2.99 on Patreon.
And that is their plan. It's like when Dan turns 70 and his dad's 90, they're going to start a podcast together. And it's like that might be the most insufferable, but the most must listen to podcast ever.
Oh, it'd be bad.
Oh yeah,
and good.
It's gonna be rough.
And good. Yeah, and good.
Yeah,
thank you.
It's gonna win so many awards. But Alex, what's up, dog? What's happening?
Yeah. So hello everyone. I'm here first of all because I'm friends with you all, but also because I've got something to talk about that I do think the Giant Bomb kind of extended universe would genuinely take interest in, and so I'm happy to be able to talk about it. So for the past couple years, myself and a whole bunch of people, but primarily myself and my former Dear Evan Hansen co-worker, Andrew Barth Feldman. Those of you who don't know him, if you saw that trailer for that recent No Hard Feelings movie starring Jennifer Lawrence, it's literally starring him and Jennifer Lawrence. You can't miss him because he's the plot of the movie. But so we created this thing together called Foul Play. And we've been working on it for a really long time. And I would love to hear Bacalar, because I got to give you a little preview of it before the show today. What would you, to the Giant Bomb universe, how would you describe this product?
So the best way that I've been able to kind of like understand it in my head and through what I've seen is imagine you had like Clue, Night Trap, and sort of like a Choose Your Own Adventure all have like a love child.
I like that. Yeah, I like that. I'm okay with that.
And Foul Play exists in that offspring, if you will. So I think that's like a good sort of like precursor, right? A good sort of like description of like high level description of like what it is you're doing. But it's also at the same time it's a game, right? It's a piece of interactive entertainment. And what we saw this morning was very cool. You had me, Dan was there too, and Dan was sort of just like, oh wow, this is actually a thing that like people worked on, and this. Yeah.
Well, it is. You got Dan there. That's okay. That's a good sign because Dan just will not accept it unless it's actually a game.
Was this before or after the clams?
This was after the clams.
Post clams.
After the clams. After we forgave him. After we forgave him. Yeah. I mean, basically, what's going on is there are 5 cases. We're calling them cases instead of episodes. That's kind of like the difference between titles and belts. You know what I mean? You could really use both. But
this guy, he knows what he's talking about.
One of them is approved. There's 5 cases. Each of them was written by a handful of writers, Andrew being one of them. I think some people, y'all might know Brennan Lee Mulligan worked on it with us. He's the D20 fella, B. Dave Walters, a comedian in New York City, R.T. Galliputty. We worked on these together. Basically, they are murder mysteries. Every one is a totally different genre.
I love that.
One of them is like film noir, and we shot it entirely in black and white. One of them is like a Dungeons and Dragons style fantasy episode, which has Mr. Travis McElroy is in that one. We have guest stars, we have actors. It's a whole wild thing, but the goal is your job as the viewer is to try to figure out who does the murder that happens halfway through. And we had to it's also, I always forget this part, and it's pretty important, is like fully improvised by all of the actors. So we are just flying around, with on the seat of our pants, trying to figure out what to do. We have little note cards that basically say, like Jan, if you were an actor in it, you might open a note card that says, before the end of the first half hour, tell Bacalar that you have no idea where you put the money. And that's all you know. But from there, your job is to create a character, be funny, and also make sure Bacalar knows that, because that's how the story gets told and the mystery gets told.
Cute.
It's fun. It's fun. What we had to invent a platform for this. Oh, hello, Doggy.
Very cool.
My instructions, not yours.
Yeah, get it together, Scout. It's very cool. The coolest thing for me seeing it play out is just how sort of like this sort of like capturing this sort of like one take slice of like what this performance was. When you experience this, you have the agency to pop in and out of how many cameras is it?
So we have 4 different rooms that the actors were allowed to go in, and each room has 3 different camera angles in it. And you can switch between all of these at literally any time.
Right. So you're basically
that's the
like
night trap element. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah, that's where the night trap stuff comes in. The fact that you have the agency to basically like go in through each room, and then the granularity to like, you know, dive down deeper into each layer, you can really sort of like ingest the performance in the way that you kind of want, and look at the same time for the little sort of Easter eggs, because as Alex put it, it's all improv, right? So you can play it in a way where you're like searching for these like very special moments between actors and catch certain things. And by the time the performance ends, which they average around 90 minutes, is that right?
Just about, yep.
Yeah. You can sort of like put the pieces together. There's like an evidence tab that opens up, and you can scroll through all that stuff and then kind of have a guess as to what you think the solution to like the murder mystery is. Really cool shit.
So this all sounds super fascinating to me. I got 2 questions as a games journalist. How many guns are there, and how many levels? And then also, like, what if I were like, I want to go engage with this? Give me like the very bare bones. Like, where should I go? How do I interact with this? So
there is 1 gun across the 5 cases, because that's too easy. People got to be getting whodunit murdered with much more interesting things than that. But you go to foulplay.live. That is where everything lives. What we have done is each case will have a live premiere, kind of like, I don't know, a premium live event, one might say.
Okay,
sure. A shoot event.
It airs live, and then from there, a ticket to one of them is $9.99. After the live premiere, you can watch it forever, and you can get if you so choose. Each case has, like, let's do some math here. 90 minutes times 4 times 3. Is that how many? There's a shitload to watch, is the point being.
Well, I mean, you're saying like the mystery's probably not going to change, but if you wanted to view a different angle that might explain some other aspect that you might have missed because you were watching something else.
Yeah, because there's no way to catch it all. Yeah.
It's like very dense.
That's the whole point. You can go
very deep on it. Okay.
And you can choose whatever version of the story you want, right? Like in some of our like test screenings with people, some people are just really into being like a great example is Gaten Matarazzo from Stranger Things. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it from you.
No, what is it about you in Stranger Things?
He's in one of Alex. He is in one of our episodes. Sorry, cases. So if you got one and you're like, I just want to see what Gaten is up to the whole time, you can just follow Gaten. Or you could be like, I really want to try to crack this thing. So you bounce from room to room and try to do it. Or you might just be like, oh, I'm just laughing, bouncing around, and honestly, I got no sense of the mystery whatsoever, but I laughed and it was funny. So there's a lot of ways to engage with it. But yeah, and then we have 5 cases. It'll be $40 if you choose to just buy all 5 of them, so you get 1 free basically. And we're proud of the product. I feel so corporate saying that because it genuinely is funny, but it was hard, guys. We worked with software developers. Like, there's this really incredible thing that happens where you realize that the thing that you and a bunch of investors and because we did get investors for this thing. You start to realize, oh shit, the technology we thought might have existed to make this work simply did not exist. So we had to spend a long amount of time working with software developers and getting it created and getting it and like owning it and getting it patented. And the platform itself, beyond anything else, beyond if murder mysteries and like improv comedy and whatever is like your bag, I get most excited by the fact that we made this thing and it functions. It's kind of wild to see that happen. And that is new for me because I've never been on kind of that side of creating something. It's really exciting.
Yeah, I just went to the website and already I get a good sense of like exactly what's happening here. It's a pretty good at illustrating like people are playing parts and like they have the dates for each of the premieres. Can I ask, is there any benefit to if I interact with it live or get the VOD, whatever you would call the.
You're asking great questions. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm genuinely curious. Like I really want to know.
So we have a Discord set up that has all sorts of different kinds of ways you can interact with it. If you do it live, you get the benefit of, first of all, having the chat going. So it can feel like you're watching it with hundreds of people, even if you're alone. We love doing it,
which I am.
Very good. We love watching it with like a group of friends, like get a pizza and everybody sits around and like plays together. It's really fun. But like if you don't have that, cool, you can engage with it live on the Discord. And then we've got a channel set up in the Discord where you can drop your guess as to who the murderer is at the end. The first 20 people who get it right, we will be giving special Discord privileges to until the next case airs. So we're going to do like behind the scenes content, maybe some little like clues for stuff. So it's like you get stuff that you don't have to, like, there is a tangible benefit to guessing correctly if you want to engage with it that way. And like, yeah, I assume most people who do that are going to be the people who really dig the thing. But yeah, there's lots of ways to interact with it.
I see the first date it has here is April 21st. That's the premiere of the first episode.
That is the premiere of the first episode.
The video on File Played Out Live that's like sort of looping at the top. Were those rehearsals? You guys have like done a lot of practice. And also, what are you holding? A head of lettuce? Is that
I'm holding a cabbage.
Come on, grab.
Hot cabbage.
And if you would like to know why I hold a cabbage head, is because my character in that episode is a like jilted Shakespearean actor, and I thought it would be really funny if I picked up like a skull to be like, Yorick, but we didn't have one, and we did have a cauliflower, and I said, it would be funny.
It is a head.
If I grabbed a cauliflower.
Yeah,
because it is a head.
That is very good. I like it a lot.
And that's the kind of stupid humor.
Yeah, like so I think quite honestly, I thought I had a good idea of like what you guys were going for before we saw the demo, but then I realized like, oh, this is also just like some friends like having fun in an improv way where you're like, it definitely rings like it reminds me a little bit, and we talked about this as well, of like that Murderville show on Netflix.
Yes,
with Will Arnett, who just gets friends to improv a procedural like crime drama with them. Like it has that same kind of vibe where half the enjoyment too is just laughing along with the actors as they are presented with, prompts and things to kind of like direct them. And you being this sort of quasi live director that gets to jump around through all that, that in itself is like the gamey fun part of it too. So it's pretty
and
dope.
Murderville's not a bad comp actually, right? Because it's like, you should have seen our text thread when we were like halfway through developing this and they announced Murderville. We were like, oh God, no! But then we like realized we're like, no. The hook of our thing once again is that you get to do it, and that's the fun of it, and that's the thing that again, like, why I was like, guys, I would love to talk about this on Giant Bomb because I genuinely feel like the community of people who like your stuff might dig.
We all love crime.
Yeah.
Well,
crime, laughing.
It's No, I've heard you all admit to crimes on this show at one point or another.
Careful.
I mean, who could say?
Well, I can't wait, Alex, for you to now also be able to win a game award and bring that everywhere, just like you bring your Tonys.
Well, we did make jokes about this. No joke, we did make we have on more than one occasion like grabbed a press person and said, "Can we win an award for fun? Like, what award can we win?" And like someone went, "Maybe a Webby," and I was like, "I'll take a Webby."
Hey, those are nice and springy. You can bounce the Tony off of it and everything.
Yeah. That's right.
Fantastic. Well,
Well,
Alex,
thanks
I
thanks
can't
for letting me
wait.
talk about it.
Yeah,
Of course. Oh, thanks for telling us about it. I'm like genuinely like I'm ready to do this. This looks great.
My dumb
Yay.
butt Googled foul as in like chickens, and I was like, this isn't unless Alex is opening up a chicken sandwich joint.
Okay,
this isn't it.
Whew.
Good name for a chicken sandwich joint.
Yep, definitely.
There we go. I cannot wait to solve crimes or watch you solve crimes or commit crimes, Alex. Also, fantastic wig.
Which one? The blonde one?
Yes, the blonde one.
Yes. There's some costume buffoonery going on. It's pretty great. Yeah. It's the right kind of.
Yeah, if you go to fileplay.live and go down to the suspects, they got the whole cast there. Yeah, it's pretty good. Get a good look at them.
Well, Alex, while we have you on the show, sir, it says on this Bombcast run of show that you got an analog pocket.
Oh,
Yay!
dude, I love it. I can't believe how much I love it. I pulled it out at lunch yesterday and stuck it in Bacalar's face, and I was like, it's really good. And you were like, yeah, but why do I like that more than all the other options? And then Dan goes, hang on. And he just like,
that was good.
Really, and then you
That
just
was really
started
You
playing
did too
Game
well of
Boy
a
at
Dan
lunch.
lately.
I'm here for you. Yeah, it rocks. I mean, we don't need to talk about it too long, but it's just one of those things where I'm like, I have always been looking for a way to engage with some of these old games and that I like maybe missed or that whatever. And it's just the way to do it to me. We've had other ways to do it, but it feels good. There's something about it.
It's well made. It comes from a hardware company with some, it's the same company that makes 8-bit DOS stuff. And so they've had a lot of experience making things. And then, they've also had a lot of experience with FPGA stuff for the home console versions. And they sort of just put all that stuff together into something that, like, it has a premium price, but it really feels like it lives up to that price in terms of the hardware that you're getting. And now that they have the FPGA cores out there, you don't have to worry about tracking down all the cartridges, although that's viable. You could still do that if you want. I've got a cartridge in mine. I play it sometimes. But, just having those cores and then doing the crimes, like it's so convenient and it's so nice. And that screen, 10 times the resolution of a Game Boy screen. So you just take those and perfectly
it's so funny.
Perfectly integer scale up those games 10x.
That's what got me.
I love
it's
math.
just gorgeous. It's gorgeous.
It
I love math.
it is what pushes you over the edge, right? Yeah. I watched it happen to Bacalar where he was like, but why do I care? And Dan is like, the screen, man. And then like you look at it and you just start giggling. You're like, I'm not supposed to see this looking like this. It's not supposed to happen.
It looks like it's superimposed. Like it looks like it's just it's like an after
Stop
effect.
telling me
you're like,
this.
You're like, why does this look like this? And your brain just sees it and is like, you gotta get that. Okay.
And that is the big difference between, I got a lot of those handhelds and they have pretty high resolution screens. They don't have they're not doing the perfect 10x integer scaling. They are just kind of like, we're getting close enough for a bunch of different platforms. They are, jacks of all trade. This one's very much going for Game Boy Color, and then it works great with Game Boy Advance stuff as well. Because the thing is with that high resolution, you can then take other platforms and sort of get close with the pixel counts, and you can't see it because it's so high resolution. You can't see where the pixels aren't lining up perfectly. So it works. It's a really smart way of doing things, and it's worth the money. And everything runs perfectly.
All right.
I play Mike Tyson's Punch Out on there, and it actually runs exactly the way it should. So I'm like, this is a great way to sort of just practice this game.
All right, question. Is the analog pocket something I can readily buy and it'll come within like a week? No? Okay, well.
I have no idea. So what was your experience like that?
Nuts.
That, Alex?
So I had wanted one for a minute, and then I was like, gosh, how am I gonna do this? Like what's up? And then I had a friend who has other ways of, interacting with these games. And he said, you know what? I've wanted a white one. So why don't you get a hold of that? I don't mind waiting, and I'll give you my black one. So I was able to kind of jump the line just by making a deal with a friend who already had one, which is fine by me because I prefer the black one.
How long is the white one going to take to get there?
It doesn't even say it, which is that's what makes me not feel good. It just says like, I think it says it might have said Q3. It definitely said 2023, but I would personally as a consumer love more transparency on that. I don't, again, who am I to say what or why, what's the deal? If they're still like, microchip shortages or if it's deliberate, which it might be deliberate, but
it's everything. It's I mean, all those companies that were making stuff just ran into so many different problems, and it wasn't just microchips; it was everything that they're like hesitant about giving specifics at all anymore.
It's also like, Jan, look at this thing.
I know, Alex. I'm looking on the site.
It's
like I gotta get mine. Hang on.
It's built in a way too that I was surprised at. But until I saw the screen, like that's really what pushed me over the edge. And then we're just all sitting there, and I'm just like, look what happened to me.
No, this amazing thing happened where you just got quiet.
Yeah,
and just started playing Mario. Like you were like, I'm
what?
like,
I got the dock too, and the dock is fantastic.
Oh, we're
that thing is
docking
sick.
now. Oh
And that-
man,
and that-
Yeah, we're docking now, baby. And it actually works really well, and you can plug into the TV,
that
and it
looked
makes
like
it easy
it
to
felt
capture.
nice to
Yeah,
slide
so
in there.
it's got a good dock feel. Yes.
Grub, I have a question because I was compelled by the doc as well.
Yeah.
But again,
Darkness.
you
Oh,
have to
sorry,
you
I
have to
can't do
wait. You have to wait.
Chappelle show? Is that what you were doing?
Yeah.
Murphy thing?
I felt
Oh my
bad
God.
immediately afterwards. I'm like,
oh my
I
God.
can't.
Okay,
I
no,
can't.
I love it. But I'm sorry. Go ahead, Alex. What were you saying about
I
the
was
dock?
I was just trying to save Jan. But we
No
no,
way.
so can I because I wanted the doc, but it's the same thing. Any accessory too sold directly from analog, you gotta wait, which is again also a bummer because I'm like, you're really gonna tell me you don't have some of those docs sitting around. But can I plug this into my if I have a Elgato capture device, will that can I just do I need something?
A generic USB-C dock might work. I don't think they do though. I think you have to use because I think there's stuff happening inside the dock with firmware.
Yeah,
I think it does a handshake. Yes,
because you know what I wanted to do that I've never done in my life, and I also haven't streamed in like almost a year, just because whatever. But there's about to be a writer's strike on television, so I feel like there's a really good chance I'm not going to have a job for a minute.
Sure.
So I want to stream a Nuzlocke run, a Pokemon Nuzlocke run, which I've never done. I've never done it. It sounds so awful and hard.
Jen, you all right?
And
Yeah, I'm right.
have you ever done one?
Of course, Alex. Of course.
Yeah, it sounds terrible, and it sounds like a great thing to stream. And if I can use this thing, that would be so rad. But yeah, I don't know. I don't have the dock, so
the dock is very cool. I think that if you're a Mister is, the Mister's pretty expensive, but a Mister's does the same stuff and it's got more cores and it's more powerful and supports more stuff. So it's like if you're gonna dock your analog pocket, sure, maybe, but maybe it's better just have this be your handheld and then get a Mister as well. And
I would love a
of
Mister.
course, a million other options. There's like really accurate software emulators these days. If you just want to build your but people get pretty precious about FPGA, and I love FPGA. But for most people, the answer really is install a bunch of emulators on whatever computer you have lying around, install them on your Xbox in developer mode or whatever. Right. And that stuff works great these days.
Well, Grub, the thing you're forgetting though is that I want to play it off of my cart that I own.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, listen, of course, you're one of those sickos.
Yeah, no, you must understand that this is we're only talking about doing this with carts that we own. So it's
exactly.
Of course.
Who thought otherwise, Alex?
Yes.
Yeah, you can't.
Sorry, I just wanted
There's
to
like
make
cartridge
sure
slots you can get for your PC, probably. I don't know. I
Actually,
haven't been to China. I don't know.
Yeah, I've seen those as well.
Yeah.
Wow, I feel like I should stop talking because I've really both with my hyperfixation of the week and my product that I'm trying to sell to people. I've talked. Please, I've dominated.
No, it's fine. You're the guest today,
yeah,
Alex. You get an additional 12 podcast points.
Oh, fuck. Okay. Wow. That's a fair.
It's all right. There's still plenty of show for podcast points to be doled out.
Okay. It's a big delta now, I think. Oh, fine.
It's all right. Sure. It's all right. Speaking about the GBA and the Game Boy, something that I've been playing wore out a lot of batteries on my Game Boy Advance at the time, and I'm talking about the Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection. Oh. Gentlemen, this is where the love of tiles started. This is it.
Oh,
this is it.
The source. Okay.
Yes. So this is a 2-part collection containing all of the Mega Man Battle Network games. This does not include the Star Force games or Mega Man Battle Chip Challenge. This is only 1 through 6, I want to say. And this also contains the split versions. So it started at Mega Man Battle Network 3. They started doing the Pokemon thing where it's like, oh, we got red and blue. Well, we got blue and white.
Are you doing a Nuzlocke of Mega Man Battle Network? Or
I don't think you could. I don't think you can.
I'm just saying words now.
It got the gears ticking in my brain, and I'm like, no. That's silly,
like
Grub.
You sneezed. You're like, no.
Excuse me.
God, I've been wanting to do one so bad. I even like drafted up a logo and everything. Anyway, if for folks that were ever fans of any of the Battle Network games, here they all are. And it's great. I haven't dipped into all of them just because it's not a casual enough game where you can pop in, pop out, or jack in, jack out.
Of course.
As you would. And it's just, I don't know. It's just fun just being transported back. I dug up an old Nintendo Power that had like the strategy guide portion of it dedicated to like the first half of Mega Man Battle Network 3. And I'm like, hey, it's all the same. It's all the same. This is great. And yeah, my only complaint is that despite it being a collection of all of the games, there's no real means to like fast forward through any of the dialogue interactions, just because these games are super duper heavy on the dialogue, and you're just thumbing through and pressing B to speed through all of the menus. They do give you an option to supercharge your blaster, and your blaster was your main weapon if you didn't have access to chips.
This is the new feature where it's like they're basically making it so you could blast through it and see all the story and turn it in kind of a little bit of an action game instead of what it originally was, right?
Yeah, so instead of having to wait for your meter to recharge so you can access your chips, and your chips are basically your deck of cards, your attack cards, you could just blast through it with your blaster and just mash on B and get through all of the encounters.
It's kind of like in Super Mario RPG when you get powerful enough that when you jump on an enemy, instead of going into the battle, you just kill it and then you keep going. Okay.
It makes me curious though, because there are a couple, and there's actually a lot of battles within the whole series where you're purposely meant to lose. So I wonder how they wind up balancing that, if it's just like an insta lose, or maybe your blaster isn't that powerful where it would one shot some of the bigger enemies. And I don't know, just playing through this, it just makes me think and miss the time where Mega Man was being fun and weird, because I feel like this was like the last leg of like, all right, this is post Legends and this is like the new thing they tried, and then for a long time they didn't do anything with Mega Man, like even up until now. Like they've done little things here and there, and yeah, I don't know, I just miss it, y'all. I just miss pulling out the thought of the future of pulling out an Ethernet cord and just randomly plugging it into anything. That seemed like an innocent future, and now you can't
without
do that.
An Ethernet condom, like just going in there and just plug it in safely. These days, you can never get away with that.
If for new players, I don't know if I could recommend it. Just because you're playing an older game and it's like a Game Boy Advance, a game that you'd be revisiting. It's interesting mechanics. I'd say the story, at least from what I remember of the first 4, I remember
surprisingly racist, right?
Surprisingly racist and heartfelt. No.
Wow, you can be both? Okay.
Not racist, but if you have any familiarity with like the Mega Man characters, it's fun to see them recontextualize. Where here, I'm used to seeing Proto Man and his weird helmet and his yellow scarf, but Proto Man here has like, Proto Man is basically Zero in this universe. And then like there's weird things of like, yo, is like Mega Man my brother? Are you my brother's soul or something?
Are these stories what the Proto Man's music is based on, or do they base it on the running guns?
500%.
Okay.
Yes.
That's what I need to hear. All right.
Also, it's fun seeing Hey Peekaboo mentions Gutsman, and I really love how Gutsman looks in this versus how he looks in all the other games. Also, Gutsman is your homie. It's great. It's great. Build friendships, collect chips and tiles.
I have a question.
Yes.
As someone who has never played any of these games.
Okay.
So when you say you don't know if you would recommend it to a new player, do you mean these games at all? Or do you mean this kind of re-release of the collection? Because
I think if you're looking to sink your teeth into like a role-playing game and you want something outside of the normal Final Fantasy formula, I mean, this still technically is turn-based to an extent. And if you have the fondness for something like Pokemon and Final Fantasy, but you want a little bit more oomph to it, I would recommend Mega Man Battle Network. It's just really dense with a story, and if you don't want anything to do with story, this may not be your bag. But there are a lot of fun combos. I really like how the combat eventually winds up progressing the further you get into the game. That being said, you have to progress a whole lot in the game before you get access to the specific chips that you want. I was always a sword type of guy, as you all know. And it takes a while to even progress to that style of play. And also in like Mega Man Battle Network 3, there's this whole grid system for your power-ups, and then you could purposely mess up all your jazz, so you develop like a buggy Mega Man. And yo, let me tell y'all, in the laundromat, when I was playing this, I thought I was hacking into the mainframe.
I bet. That sounds amazing, actually.
It was
That's
great.
really cool.
Yeah, so if you purposely messed up your code, you would wind up getting like a buggy, unpredictable Mega Man that would occasionally like blink through the level. It was great. It was fantastic. It still is fantastic. There's not too much in terms of like filters put over it. It's just like on, off, and then you could just resize the screen. Playing it on the Switch runs completely fine on the Nintendo Switch.
You know what's wild?
What's up,
that
dog?
whole breakdown you just gave? I went, man, I'm probably gonna go play Persona 4. Like I like that whole time you were explaining it, and my mind just kept going to like, oh man, Persona 5 is really good. And then I remembered that those re-releases of the other Personas are waiting for me to play, and you somehow just sold me a copy of Persona 4 Golden. I don't know how
Cut the check, Atlas.
That's it. Are you kidding?
There's a lot of cool things going on in Mega Man Battle Network games. I have never played them. But I love everything I hear about it, except for the whole like a lot of story, and you have to play a long time before you get to a lot of the cool stuff. That's, that's not my jam.
There was a scene for a while where a lot of Mega Man Battle Network modders and emulators were playing competitively against each other, but they'd have to fire up Hamachi to like fool their systems into thinking they had a link cable.
Yeah. Sure.
Real crazy stuff. Oh god, I think you can't do that. I forget if there's actual competitive multiplayer, because that is a system or an esport your boy has been dying to get into.
Yeah, I would watch 15 minutes of that, and then I would walk away.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, let's go.
There we go. 15 minutes of fame, baby. Jeff Grubb, you've also been playing something incredibly similar to Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection.
Have cards.
Oh, it does. Okay. Well, you've been playing and having a little vacay on Dead Island 2.
Yes, I have. Yeah, Dead Island 2 is surprisingly fun. I had no expectations for it. Zero expectations. And then I started playing, and I had actually heard someone, Jesse actually has reviewed it for Xbox Era, and he's like, I think it's great. I'm like, what? You're out of your mind. And so
are you okay?
Yeah, I'm like, are you okay? Is this you're trying to tell me something? Are you in trouble? I booted it up, and I was just immediately having fun, because it feels really good to hit zombies with things in this game.
Turns out
they get that down really well, and then they give you a bunch of fun stuff that is not exclusive to your character, but enables you to express like the best idea of your character. I picked the sort of athletic lady, and she doesn't have high toughness, but she's got really good agility. And I am unlocking abilities in this set of 5. Like the progression system is a series of rows of cards, and you can fill in these card slots with different things. And the top row is 5 slots, and these are your basic abilities, but they are but you could kind of pick and choose how you use them. Although at first you're going to get the stuff that makes the most sense for your character. So my agile, not so tough lady could do a jump kick, and then eventually I unlocked a drop kick, which is way more powerful, and I just swapped those out 1 for 1. That was easy. There's other things like a slide and kick to do damage as you're sliding. She can do things like dash to avoid attacks, but then eventually I also got the dash attack, and that enabled me to like basically slam my palm into someone from pretty far away. And then on the other rows below that, these are the basic abilities, and it's fun to unlock those, and they're fun to play around with, and they just make the combat feel really cool, to the point where I was like, oh, I'm gonna take a clip of that. Oh, I'm gonna take a clip of that. That looked cool. I had fun doing that. I'm gonna take a clip of that. And I got like, a half dozen of those moments in the 5 hours ish that I've played so far. And then then all the rows below that are a lot of maybe passive abilities or other abilities that interact with those top row abilities. So I have one that's, hey, do the dash attack, and if you do the dash attack, you're going to get a little bit of health back. And so I begin like finding this circular pattern of, okay, so I'm going to start off by going in there and doing my big dash attack just to get things started, and then I'm going to do like a dash, and if I do the dash at the right time, here's another ability that says, okay, if you dash right at the last moment to avoid an attack, you're going to be able to come back at the zombie and basically hit X and do a glory kill. And if you do a glory kill, you'll get health back, and then you can start doing some crowd management by kicking people, and then do a big drop kick. And occasionally you'll have an environmental hazard like a pool full of acid. Let's just kick a zombie into there, let him get dissolved. And I'm just like, this is really fun. It's a really good time. It doesn't get in its own way as well. It is just it's serving you up the stuff it has to do. It's not an open world. You're gonna go from one waypoint to the other, and it's just gonna have a bunch of cool stuff to do in these zones. It's not like the most compelling thing in the world, but it is a good time even on my own. And I think this is a game that is going to really shine in cooperative. I mean, as most games are fun with friends, but I think there's a really good foundation here where it's like people are just going to have a really good time going through these levels and playing them together. I don't think it's the longest game in the world, but I totally think it's worth it for what it is. And it's a surprisingly good game. I'm really kind of shocked by it.
I like surprises.
That's my question, right? Like, I think so much time has passed since this was, first announced, and obviously the sort of it being the punchline to many development jokes and whatnot, and then you're just sort of like, the hell's this game anymore? Like, is it even and I think that's what I want to know. Like, what is it? Like, what did they actually land on? Like, is you briefly described a linear experience, but like, what is the whole thing?
So you are one of these characters you could pick. You get on a plane to evacuate. Surprise, the plane crashes. No. You're stuck in LA. I was going around Santa Monica and Beverly Hills, and you can see the Hollywood sign is on fire and stuff like that, like from someone's backyard.
Good.
You get into a basically a group that there's a celebrity and then all of her entourage, and they have a house that's pretty well protected. You are trying to figure out a way to get everyone out because you're the one person who's actually capable, and you start piecing together, okay, well, for one thing, I got bit and I got better, so I'm immune. So I'm going to find a way to leverage that to see if we can get us all to safety. So you're trying to like track down anyone that is in any position of authority. Eventually you find someone and they're like, oh, you're immune? That is valuable. Please go here. And then it's a series of sort of, this is going to sound like a video game. Or like, okay, well, we need to go get this person because we need to convince this person to come with us so then we can have this group that all wants to come and can protect each other, and we have a better chance of surviving. So we got to go find that person. Oh, he's not at his house. He went to this other place. All right, well, let's deal with the zombies and see if we can find out where he's at. All right, now let's go to this other place. Oh, he's not there. It's these weird biker people and a guy in panties who's like giving you these missions in his yard, and it's like it's silly and fun, and it's mostly the writing is mostly innocuous, even if it's oftentimes bad. It's not great, but it's also not getting in the way. So you're just going from one place to the other, piecing these missions together, and then eventually you're going to get to sort of like what feels like a chapter end where things change a little bit, and then you keep progressing. And the game adds on these layers of mechanics, and then adds on layers of what you're doing in terms of the story. But yeah, it's mostly going from one waypoint to the other, and it's not super repetitive in that. Yeah, sure, you're beating up zombies everywhere you go, but it's like, okay, you're going to this place and you're helping this person do this thing, and then the next place it's going to be a pretty big variation on that, and it's been pretty good so far.
So it's been, what, a decade? How long?
Yes, it's like 10 years since this game got announced almost.
Oh, boy.
So does any of that stank like resonate on this game? Because I feel like, sounds like for the most part, the development hell, right, that it like went through, like hasn't really shown up in the final product, right? Or at least if you didn't know any better, you'd be like, oh, this is just a game ass game, and that's it. What do you think?
I am pretty impressed that they shed most of what felt like the baggage of that development cycle, mostly. Someone pointed out that it's been in development so long that the camouflage that the army guys in the game are wearing is camouflage that the army no longer wears. It's something they were wearing like about 10 years ago. And it's like, okay, that's pretty interesting, but it's that sort of thing. Now I did get a bug where eventually I got a knife and I could, as you're doing those glory kills where you set up the glory kills where you dodge and then you go in and you hit the X button, and if you time it right, you just get the stab right on the top of the head, kill him instantly. You would do the thing. I would do that, and then it would bring it down. It'd be like, okay, the first time it's actually not enough to kill them. It would kind of come at their head and slash them, and every time it would like come down there and slash at their head, my character and the enemy I was stabbing would zoom about 20 yards to the left.
Oh, shit.
And then we do the animation again, zoom 20 yards to the left. And it was like, okay, well, we hit the wall and we stopped. We're okay. The second time that happened, we zoomed to the left and kind of went into a hill, and then we stopped the animation, and I fell through the floor and died. And that was frustrating.
That's by design. That happens
I'm sure
in
that
the
was
future,
like, hey, look, this is fun. Like, you need a break anyhow. We want you to feel frustrated, so you walk away. That's a pretty substantial bug. And I think that's, that was my experience. Again, you can never tell. In terms of like other bugs, I didn't see much. That was the one, but the one that I did see was enough to like actually get me to be like, I'm going to put this down for the night. So it's kind of in that zone. I was playing on the Xbox. Other than that, it runs really well, and it's not like constantly breaking, but it did break on me once.
I feel like we're going to have to play this, huh? We're all going to need to group up.
Yeah, I did. I as soon as I was like having fun, I'm like, this seems like the kind of thing that we should maybe all get together and play. I think so. When you start the game, I was like, you started solo, you go through, you pick your character. And then there was a period where not too long in the game where it's like, hey, you should set your game so you can play with friends. You want to set it public? You want to set to friends only? And so it's like, I think you got to play about 20, 30 minutes of it to unlock the multiplayer, but it's totally worth it. I think we should definitely do that and get together maybe on Friday and do that.
Right. Perhaps. Okay. Before we go to break here, I just need to share this with everyone. UPF, we played Crime Boss Rocket City before ranking a bunch of...
We is a strong word.
Yeah,
we is a strong word.
Me. Before ranking some Mike Myers movies and Adam Sandler movies, I still stand by the Hubie Halloween is better than...
That decision ruined my weekend, but sure, stand by it.
I wound up sitting there with Crime Boss Rocket City because I forgot it was running in the background the whole time for 40 minutes trying to get the Kim Basinger glitch to happen.
I love you, Jan.
And I'm like, you know what? We started UPF an hour earlier. It's noon. I'm used to getting off at this time. So and I just sat there just mousing through a couple times. Did not happen. She did pop up in a completely different area, though. That was not any of the bar or like these not screening room, like the planning room. It was completely different. And I'm like, I don't know where this location is. And then Michael Rooker was around as well. And
he's like, hey, quit being a creepo.
Yeah, and then football terms and everything.
Yeah. My name's Touchdown, but like American football. It's like, okay, Michael Rooker, please calm down.
And it still baffles me. This game still baffles me, and I need to delete it off of my system. But I hovered over the delete or remove from Epic, and I was like, not yet.
You think there's one more chance that we play this game again?
There's one more chance for crime.
He's not holding out for that.
One more chance for crime. I'm holding out for something else. I'm not going to read what that says in chat, but we'll be back after a quick break. This episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. You know who the hardest person to get to know is? No, it's not me, your favorite podcast host. It's you. But it's also me. It's you. It's yourself. Therapy is all about getting to know you, which is all very important to get to know why you do things and why you react in a certain way. BetterHelp connects you to a licensed therapist so you can start the journey of getting to know you. Listen, y'all, therapy can do wonders for you because it's done that for me. I've really been able to get to the root of some of my problems and really understand me, which turns out is important. Also, it is a great place to just dump whatever has been on your chest. Get those chips off your shoulders. If you've thought about giving therapy a try BetterHelp. The whole thing is online, it's convenient, flexible, and suited for your busy schedule. Fill out a brief questionnaire, and you will get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch if it's not a good fit. Discover your potential with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/bombcast today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/bombcast. Thanks, BetterHelp. Yo, the warmer months are coming, y'all. You're bound to be out with your friends or you're just going out on hikes, and it is essential to stay hydrated. And you can stay hydrated with Liquid IV, because with one stick, you got 5 essential vitamins and 2 times faster hydration than water alone. Use it in the morning, before a workout, or after a night out on the town. Yo, I'm a big fan of Liquid IV. It helps me make sure that I'm all good and hydrated after long nights. Sometimes your boy forgets to drink water during the day, and it helps tremendously. I had some travel recently, and it was super handy in making sure I wasn't all worn out at the end of the day. They've got a bunch of different flavors. My personal favorite is tangerine, and that's part of the immune support line. I can't recommend Liquid IV enough, y'all. Yo, you get 5 essential vitamins in each stick. That's B3, B5, B6, B12, and vitamin C. That's so many Bs. I had no idea there were that many Bs. And on top of that, Liquid IV partners with organizations to help communities protect their water and their future. Grab your Liquid IV in bulk nationwide at Costco, or you can get 20% off when you go to liquidiv.com and use code Bombcast at checkout. That's 20% off anything you order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code Bombcast at liquidiv.com. Thanks, Liquid IV. Alex, I'd be remiss, and I think I'm using that word correctly, but I don't care if I'm using it incorrectly or not. In a future Kingdom Hearts entry, will I be able to summon you?
Wow.
The answer to that surely is no for a couple reasons.
Okay.
But
mostly your contract where you say you're afraid video games would steal your soul.
Right.
Yeah, right. No, I would. Oh my God, would I like that? No, just, realistically, if this guy exists, he exists in Kingdom Hearts 1. You know what I mean? And because we go to Alice in Wonderland in Kingdom Hearts 1. We could run it back. We could just retcon it and just be like, oh, that one's him.
Hey, well, I mean, you develop games now, so you could mod yourself in. Is
now,
what we're really getting at.
I wouldn't say I develop games. I would say that I develop immersive, interactive, improvised, murder mystery. Yeah, interactivities, comedy, it's not a game quite per se.
Okay, it's a lifestyle.
I'm still gonna win it.
You could win. Yeah.
All right. Well, Grub, why don't you talk about the news? Something you can also win. Grub, if you get through the news this week, you get 30 podcast points. I know you always get through
here
it.
Batting 0. What are we doing?
We're going to speed run it then.
Easy 5 for you. There you go.
Oh, yes. Mark it down.
All right. Quick version of the news this week, everybody. We're going to hit some of these headlines, talk a little bit about it. Let's start here with the Super Mario Brothers movie is definitely going to make $1 billion. Everyone pretty much predicted this. The movie is well on its way to getting there. Already at about $700 million. It's going to make $700 million today. Today's where it's going to cross that.
Is that a threat?
Yeah.
Oh, Backlash, did you like it?
I liked it. I thought it was. Yeah. I thought it was the Super Mario Brothers movie, folks.
From Illumination, right? Yeah, absolutely.
We had a bit of a conversation about this at lunch yesterday. I'm not, to be clear, I am not like digging into the batter's box, getting ready to shit on the Super Mario Brothers movie. Okay, that's not what I'm here for. Also, who fucking cares, right? Like we're not here to shit on that movie.
Sounds like you care right now, Backlash.
I just think it could have maybe been better.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I look in the mirror and I say that to myself all the time.
It's a bad movie that's pretty good because it's Super Mario Brothers.
I just think you have so much there to work with, and I thought it was it looked amazing. Oh my God, did that movie look amazing?
Looks good.
Yes.
In the water shit with
the water doesn't look nearly as great as a different water movie, but yes.
Sure. Look, we are not comparing any Avatar bullshit with Mario.
Not
bullshit.
Everyone can be a composer of songs.
Yeah, exactly.
I know that's
Look. I also saw it with literally 45 children, and
were they all
it.
fucking into it? Yeah, exactly. It does its job.
There you go.
Yep. It's gonna be on nonstop in my house.
They're also stupid.
Well, yeah,
because they're kids. But yes, it was fun. I enjoyed it.
I
yeah,
honestly,
could've been better.
this movie was made because by people who think kids are stupid. I agree with that. Yes.
Yeah, but you hear what I'm saying though, right? Like,
Oh,
yeah,
totally.
I mean, like,
We
the
felt
Lego
the same
movie
way.
has something to say. The Lego movie had something to say. This movie, also based on a product, has nothing to say.
literally nothing to say.
I think it has
Alex,
something to say.
Brothers are cool, is what it has to
I
say.
think it's trying to say.
Let's hear it.
You know,
Get
you
hooked on
like
the brothers.
don't you like these guys, these brothers?
It says you know
right.
for sure.
Yes.
It says, hey, don't you know like the star's important? You know?
Oh,
I mean, that's
Yes,
true.
Hey, don't you know that's our money in your pocket? Then
Yeah,
give
yeah,
it
yeah.
over. That's our money now.
I have
I mean, look.
I have two very passionate things to say about this movie. The first being, I guess, light spoilers. I think this is in the trailer.
Whoa.
You cannot spoil this fucking movie,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
Take it easy. Yeah, you could. But there's a moment where Peach like turns to Mario and like looks up at the stars and says like, "There's so many other galaxies out there that we know nothing about." And I turned to my friend Tom and I was like, "Oh, we're in trouble." Like that's like that is the soft launch of the like, Mario
The
cinematic
MCU.
universe.
Inject
Yeah.
it into me, though.
Yeah.
I've had like a borderline stressful amount of like conversations about what other like Nintendo properties look like sort of as films, and I don't know if it's an across the board Illumination deal or if that's just for Mario, but a friend of mine was like, but what if, like imagine a Zelda movie done in the like the Studio Ghibli fashion.
Sure.
Like
Don't
sure.
even say that. I want it
yeah,
so
don't
bad.
even like what do you do? Like, dude, everyone's
I'm
had every
speaking
thought,
truth to
right?
power, man.
Like,
I'm
Yeah.
speaking truth to power.
Right.
I don't think it's impossible that happens.
oh, of course,
Um,
but I also think every permutation of everything has already been like spoken out loud in a place of importance. Where
I tweeted
Totally.
this, and I think I was in Game Mess chat when y'all were talking about this last. But I think they should give The Legend of Zelda to Leica. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at Kubo and two strings.
Yeah,
Imagine
that'd be sick.
Link.
I would love that.
That'd be sick.
I just think
I'm cool with
you know
stop
what?
motion, not claymation, y'all.
Yeah,
Just
and let the
don't get that
Safdie
twisted.
brothers do a Kirby. Okay, let's
Fucking brothers.
let's just. What are we
We're gonna
waiting
hear-
for?
We're gonna hear bones chomping when he does a swallow. I think that here's the key thing that I think I want to say as a purveyor of the arts. I think I would say
Sure.
the most important thing to me that I walked away from that Mario movie thinking genuinely was like, okay, like they're not just gonna let horse shit happen
Sure.
with these characters, and I think that much kind of assuaged any fear that I would have that any other property or product would be like bad. Do you know what I mean? Like I think Nintendo themselves cares too much. And we saw, I think you said this on something recent, Grub, but like, we saw like Nintendo, like a whole pre-roll Nintendo before a movie. They're in this for the long game.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I don't think this is going to be like, yes, they're going to be trying to grab cash because they just grabbed $1 billion. They're about to grab $1 billion. Like it's going to happen. But
Yep.
I just think that they may have just afforded themselves the ability to take a couple risks. And I hope that they take them.
All right.
Yeah, I could support that positive thinking. I think, like, again,
Luigi's Mansion as a movie, which the rumor right now is the next thing is a Luigi thing.
Give it to
That is-
Blumhouse.
That is that is so easy to turn into
Yeah.
a fun movie with
Totally.
an actual story that actually does something. I'm more hopeful for that than I ever would be for what they've done with the Super Mario Brothers movie.
I don't, and I don't think like I think I think this movie delivered on like what like it had all it had to do is really put its name on the test, right? Like that's
Yeah.
kind of
I agree.
You know what I'm
That's
saying?
it
Like
did.
exactly. Like how many of these Illumination, Pixar, DreamWorks movies come out and you're just like, wow, horrific dog shit. You know what I'm saying? Like I think there is a certain bar that these movies do achieve kind of out of the you know what I mean?
I think most of those studios, Illumination. This is actually one of the Illumination's best movies.
Yeah.
Like, most of their movies
Sure.
are true dog shit. Pixar's still has an incredible hit rate,
Yes.
even if it's not 100% anymore. And DreamWorks actually does a lot of good stuff. I think that
Definitely.
like, if this was even as good as I said this before, as good as Trolls, I would have been ecstatic. It's not even as good as Trolls. So it's like Yeah, but I think I agree with Alex. It's also them like establishing the boundaries and saying this is what's okay and what can you do in here while working with Nintendo. I think these two companies have like felt each other out now and can be like, all right, next time out, let's take a little bit more risk. I think
There's also like
I'm ready for it.
There's like a reclamation of Mario on screen too, right?
Yeah.
Like that's happening. Like we can't ignore that that's happening here. And like I felt, I mean, I don't know anything, right? I'm just this is armchair experting. But like when I watch that movie, I sit there and I say to myself, like, yeah, this is a movie where Illumination said what they wanted to happen. Nintendo said, we're a little worried about that. What if we do this instead? So you can feel the back and forth between these two companies figuring out how to deal with Mario. And I think like at the end of the day, I think that like we watched a working relationship get established in real time too. And it's going to be a multi-year partnership. And I am cautiously hopeful that this is only this is like the safest they're ever going to play it. I can be wrong. And maybe they look at numbers and they say, we have to play it safe. And we get a bunch of lame movies, right? But I hope that's not the case.
Yeah, that'd be neat to see weird stuff for sure.
I think a Pikmin movie from the company that made Minions actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I think the Pikmin were Minions before Minions, and they should, even like they were before Rabbids even. So it's like, just take those and have a good time to make a comedy movie where the Pikmin are doing wild stuff. And then, it's about a guy kind of marooned on a planet. You could do cool stuff with that. So I'm hopeful that they get to like that level of Nintendo property. And I think they probably will.
I love that we're in a world where there's a legitimate possibility of A24 and Nintendo partnering up to make some type of film. And I love the prospect of it.
That's Grub's. What's that game that you played that made you sad? That's not Grub. Bacalar. That's Eternal Darkness. That's the property.
Oh,
there you go.
Oh, there we go.
Gonna make Bacalar real sad.
Can you imagine Ford versus the team that gave you Ford versus Ferraris giving you F-Zero?
Yeah, I can.
Sure. I have two more things to really touch on really quickly.
Touch away.
I have to say the Chris Pratt voice, it did not bother me. I know I was beating that drum louder than anyone else. I gotta call it like I said. It was fine.
It just completely fades in. Like,
yeah,
it's almost,
I prefer it not to be him, but whatever. That's fine. What I was surprised by in terms of voice acting was our good buddy Fred Armisen.
Unbelievable.
And what you mean Larry David?
What he did with Cranky Kong, I just think I don't know. I think he should now be forced to speak like that for the rest of his days. Yeah. I don't know. That really was. It was like hilarious and confusing and ridiculous.
No, dude. When I went home, I kept thinking about. I was like, all right. Well, now that we've established this, I was like, what would other Mario characters sound like? Yeah. And I can genuinely say to you with a straight face that I came home and sat alone in this apartment, going like, wah, like imagining Waluigi speaking the king's English. You know what I mean? Like I have to go to the grocery.
Oh my God, Ralph Fiennes? Yeah, what's his name? Ralph Fiennes as Waluigi. Yo, cut the check, Nintendo. I would
love that. Real quick, so the music's the worst part of the movie. Obviously, those needle drops are insane.
I was upset by that. I thought that was real dumb.
But I personally am fine with it, but I do also think it's the worst part of the movie. Someone who worked on the movie said, like MinMax talked about, it's like it would be like having Jump in there, and apparently the final fight was originally cut to Van Halen's Jump, and the director had to argue like tooth and nail to get the Superstar song in there instead as the actual music. That's the level we're dealing with. That's what we're dealing with.
I was upset by the music, I gotta say. Yeah,
I was laughing at the stupidity of the licensed music.
Yes.
However, the score is
incredible.
Overwhelmingly good. I want to,
dude.
I want to separate those two things clearly.
On the director, the composer had the argument, and he won. The composer did a great job. Brian Tyler. I think the occasional like bum bum bum.
Yeah. As soon as they go under,
that was a little cheesy occasionally, like a little bit like, but it was still really well composed, and overall the music, the original composition was really well done.
I bought that thing
stuff was a joke.
On vinyl while oh my God.
Yeah, I got it too.
I bought that thing on vinyl while waiting for the post-credit stinger. That's how swiftly I was like, I have to have this score on. I have to have it.
Yeah, I got the vinyl on the way too. I'm excited. All right, let's move along here. The Super Mario Brothers games, meanwhile, are also seeing a boost thanks to the movie's success, at least in part to that. In the UK, 3 Mario games were among the top 10 best sellers of the week, thanks in part to the success of the film. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe was number 2 after a 9% increase in sales week to week. That's the third week in a row that its sales have increased. Super Mario Odyssey was number 5. That's a 15% increase in sales. It also helps that is part of a bundle where people can get a Mario bundle, and that was also lined up with the movie. And then New Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe got a big jump of 23% and landed at number 10 on the chart. A bunch of other Mario games, though, are also seeing boost. Super Mario 3D World was number 13. Mario Party Superstars was number 20. Mario Strikers Battle League was up 111% and was number 30 on the chart. And then Luigi's Mansion 3 was up 7% and number 40 on the chart. So just across the board,
look at it happening. Yep. Look at it happening. It's happening.
Yep, it is.
Yeah.
This is the dream for them. This is exactly what the whole thing is about.
We were talking about this after we watched the movie. I forget. No, this was after the Coronaritas. But like, imagine a world for like a young kid, like maybe one of the dumb kids that rolled up to Bacalar's kids party, right? Never had a Switch, never exposed to any Mario. And think of like the huge catalog, immense catalog that they can now dip into, right? Of like, oh, whoa, Mario's 2D and he looks like weird. Oh, look at this other one. He has this cool jetpack that a lot of odd folks, chaotic folks really love. You know, I love it. It's great.
And it's not just kids either. I want to make it. It's proliferated across non-gamers too, because we're dealing with numbers that are like
way
so stupid big.
Yeah,
that they're like, I'll go check out that movie. Everyone's saying it's fun. I have a friend who his partner had never touched a Mario game, and after they saw the movie, he's like, put this guy in my hands. Let me see what this is. And they straight up booted up Mario 64. And you're watching a fully grown man be delighted by Mario 64 in the year 2023. Awesome. Like everything they want to be happening is happening. That's beautiful. And the theme park, which you guys have a whole other perspective on, which I'm sure you'll get to in the coming days/weeks.
Yep. It's, I mean, all these companies are lining up exactly together how they wanted to, and all the products they're putting out are lining up together. They're really hitting it. So.
There's going to be a world where Dan is right, where Mario may be more popular than Mickey.
I did talk to Mike about that again, where Mike's the proponent, the biggest one of like Mickey Mouse, he's like, Mario is even more popular than what we were saying before. And he still thinks Mickey Mouse is more popular, but it's clear. It is clear that Mario is just right there. I think Mario is more popular personally, but it's neck and neck either way. And it's just so obvious at this point that it clearly is neck and neck.
Time will tell.
Yeah, we'll see.
And you know, apparently he is from Brooklyn. I didn't know that's like official now.
From real. We got to get off this movie. But the last thing I'm going to say that made me scream about this movie is we established that Mario is not from, New Donk City. He's from Brooklyn. New York. Like he lives here.
Brooklyn.
Like that blew me away. I was laughing hard.
I had a children's book that was like one of those. It was kind of similar, like one of those little golden books. It might have been a little golden book where it was like Mario, but it's from the 80s, and it was basically the plot of this movie. It's like Mario and Luigi go to work in the sewers. There's a pipe. They go through it, and we're from Brooklyn. And it like opens, so it says like Brooklyn, New York. It almost does like one of those date lines from a news story. And then he goes to pipe, and he's like, now we're in Mushroom Kingdom. So it's like, okay, they must just felt like that was the canonical story there.
Fabulous.
All right, let's move on here. Nintendo's hosting an Indie World Showcase tomorrow, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern. 20-minute presentation with reveals, announcements, and updates about indie games that are heading to the Switch. Well, we'll see. Well, that's 9 a.m. That'd be 10. That'd be right before. We'll probably talk about it on Game S mornings because it'll be hard to like do a talk over for that.
What's the Hollow Knight sequel?
It is can't remember.
Silk Song.
Silk Song. There it is. Yes, Silk Song.
Are we finally going to get updates on that?
We're just testing.
The last time we saw that was an Xbox showcase last year. So they probably have some sort of co-marketing with Xbox, but who knows? It could show up anywhere. Okay. It does feel at this point too big for an indie world, though, so I wouldn't expect it. Sega has money and it's spending it. $775 million to buy Angry Birds creator Rovio.
Whoa.
Everyone's keeps pointing out, hey, Sega would be a good thing for these other companies to acquire. Sega got so sick of that, they're like, we're going to go acquire something ourselves. The big idea here is that Rovio can be good at taking existing Sega IP and proliferating them across a variety of mobile games. And it's a good match because Rovio has struggled to create new IP other than Angry Birds. So just take Sega IP and put that on mobile. That's the idea. Sega's already had some success with Sonic on mobile. It sounds like they just want to do a lot more of that. This is still kind of a weird move, though, I think. What do you guys think?
It's a weird move in 2023 to me to see that sentence, right? Like, not only that Sega is capable of acquiring something at that price, but that Rovio is, I don't know, I haven't thought about the birds in a minute. So it's a fascinating purchase.
Does that include like movie rights and everything?
I'm sure it does. Yes.
Yeah, it's got to be the whole.
Yeah, and then they've had 2 Angry Birds movies, and they were moderately successful. I think.
I'll tell you right now. Go
ahead, take a look. Yeah,
it is surprising though. I do think it's a strange. Like I usually you sort of like you see this acquisition, you sit on it for 10 minutes, and you're like, oh, this is what they're gonna do. This I'm not so sure. Is it just Sonic in Angry Birds? Like,
well, I mean, it's like take Sonic and make new mobile games. I mean, It really is that simple, and it's I think.
Go ahead. Maybe we'll get a good Sonic game. Go ahead.
Yeah,
maybe. Right? Like, why not?
Keep trying. This is actually a pretty decent deal for Rovio. I think it's Zynga was $12 billion for Take-Two. Just to put in perspective, Zynga is not worth that much more than Rovio. Not really. Sure. They were big on Facebook games and have like kind of got some of that stuff going up on mobile. I think $775 million for Rovio is probably a pretty appropriate price. So, but yeah, we'll see where this goes. Sega, they'll close this deal probably in the next couple of months, and then we'll see what happens with that. Halo franchise director is leaving. Frank O'Connor is out. They confirmed this. Frank's I like Frank. He was a weird guy. He was always like pretty weird over there at 343. A lot of fans kind of had a strained relationship, let's say, with Frank, because Frank would say a lot of stuff that would not come true, is maybe the best way to phrase it. But yeah, this is definitely a part of a cleaning of the house over at 343. This is one of those stories for this week that I kind of wanted to talk a little bit with you guys about. Microsoft is in... I'll say the current leadership of Microsoft, and maybe I'm thinking specifically Matt Booty, who has a variety of teams under him, including 343, that have put out games, but the games that haven't like made a ton of money, and Halo was probably supposed to make a lot of money. I think they're probably looking to like clean out 343 as a last-ditch effort to save their own jobs, because otherwise Microsoft's in a pretty tough spot. Do you guys think that 343 can sort of reset, bring in fresh talent, and come back with a Halo that is, valid and sort of that people recognize as a game that is among the top echelon of games?
It is like the steepest uphill climb at this point.
Especially, yeah.
I mean, we joked around for forever that, Halo Infinite got delayed, and then it eventually came out, but it was missing a huge chunk of what folks came to Halo 4 with the co-op. And then I feel like we regularly make the joke also that like, we should check out the Halo campaign when it comes out. And it turns out like the co-op campaign has been out for like more than a year now.
Yeah, we should actually check that out though.
this month.
I think, I don't know. Things like this also further cement certain ideas that I've decided to believe myself, primarily like Halo is maybe on the other side of its popularity. It definitely is. It definitely is.
They need like a Doom like 2016 renaissance.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Right. Like, but in 28, right?
Right.
Yeah. Like that's probably when that'll swing back around. I don't think the IP is dead, but I just think it's it's in a different stage.
It's moribund. Is that the right word? Moribund? That's probably not the right word, but I'm going to say.
I don't know. I don't think I've
heard that.
Moribund.
I think that's the right word.
Morbius. It's Morbius.
One in Rome.
It is. I think that they are. I mean, they laid a bunch of people off. And then a bunch of leadership has left. Bonnie Ross left last year. A bunch of the other kind of top team leaders have all left. And left or were kind of maybe shoved out the door a little bit. We'll see with 343, but they definitely are sort of trying to reset things here, and they are going to come back with a Halo Infinite that I think is going to operate as this multiplayer game for the next couple of years. And then what is the next big Halo announcement? That, certain affinity battle royale type thing that is in the Unreal Engine. Maybe that's the chance to be like, Halo can be different things now, and we are just going to begin splintering off in this direction. And maybe we don't even really rely on 343 as much as we rely on these partner developers that we're bringing in.
Do you think they try and finish whatever story that they've been trying to tell, or do they just clean slate?
I do not think that is a priority. I don't think it's a priority. So maybe at some point, but right now it is, let's just find a way to make this game make money. And that's clearly what the big issue here is. No one from the Microsoft side all the way down to the 343 side understood how to make this game in a way that it could have content that you could present to players, and then that would make them want to spend money on cosmetics. They did not know how to execute on that. And so the game comes out and does not make enough money. And it's that simple. And it's like, that is a problem, because this was a game that was supposed to kind of be funding everything else, and it's not. So I think that's why a lot of people's jobs inside of Microsoft right now, inside of Microsoft Gaming, are pretty precarious, and they got to start getting some hits. But it's like, it's not like all the things that are coming that we've heard about are in wonderful shape. I mean, like, there's definitely rumors going around about Fable and how that's going to take some time because it's just not in great shape right now. And I think those are starting to be like, yeah, it does sound right. And Redfall continues to have a bad headline after bad headline. It's going to launch at 30 frames per second only on Xbox Series X. Ooh. What? This is a first party game. Ghostwire Tokyo, a first party Xbox game, runs demonstrably worse on the Xbox than it did on the PlayStation 5. What's going on? These are things that just should not happen.
Yeah.
It's just a bummer.
Yeah, I think it's what happened to Halo, right? Where Halo became a bummer to think about. So even though I really enjoyed Halo Infinite, I no longer brought up the possibility of like, let's go play Halo, because everyone was bummed out about it, and I didn't want to bring the mood down. I think Microsoft is at risk of that applying to them across the board. And what can you do? Like, they already did the thing like 10 years ago where like, we fired Don Matrick, we got Phil Spencer in there. And now we have a long time of Phil Spencer, and it's like that things are not necessarily feeling all rosy at this point. In some ways, they're feeling more dire and grim than they ever have. So, yeah, they got to really kind of right the ship there, and who knows what the right answer is. All right, Suicide Squad's been delayed, February 2nd, 2024. It's mostly going to be for more polish, but that is a big boy delay. There was original reporting was like, hey, maybe later 2023. We talked about it on Game This Mornings. I heard 2024. There it is. It's not going to change fundamentally, though. Alex, did you watch the presentation, that State of Play, where they showed this? Did you have any thoughts on like Suicide Squad?
My thoughts were just, they're your thoughts. They're everyone's. It's just like, oh man, it's like I just want to be delighted. You know what I mean?
Right.
Amen.
I don't know how to put it any other way. It's just like these days there's too much out there. If it doesn't feel like it's going to like genuinely enhance my life, I just don't play with it. Like I don't know how to say it in any other way. I'm like, looks like a video game that an algorithm made of a video game, and it just doesn't. I hate to use the expression uninspired, because I know people are working their asses off on this game, but that's what it feels like. And I feel for everybody who probably had ideas of what they wanted this thing to be and hoped that it would be. And it's just a bummer. Sure. I don't know what to say. It's a bummer. And also, like, again, if we're talking about synergy, like DC has faced like brand damage, right? Like, and that doesn't not play into this. You know what I mean? Like it's
all part of the soup of like how you feel about something. Yeah,
that's right. And I it's a silly word. I just come back to the word delighted. I feel like we can giggle at that, but I feel like y'all probably all agree, and everyone watching is like, I want to smile. It's the same thing with Halo. You bring up Halo, I don't get delighted anymore. I hear it and I'm like, And
I think they have similar sort of ideas of like, listen, delighting you would be a great side effect. What we want to do is engage you. We want you engaged.
They want us activated.
You want us activated. Yes, that is what we want. And it's like, okay, these things are not matching up. Wait a minute, I got delighted by your Batman games, and those worked really well for a really long time. Why does this feel so different? And I think it's because the motivations of making these games were very different than the motivations of making games 10 years ago.
Can I say something kind of highfalutin too?
Please.
Yeah.
Fill it with gluten. Fill it with gluten, baby.
This is us.
Nothing. Whenever a decision is, look, I can't begin to say that I know why the decision to make that game was made, right? I wasn't there, you weren't there. But I feel like if you're not starting from a place of there is a story that we want to tell that gets told through games, and that's the form with which we're telling the story, why are you telling it, right? It's the same thing, like, I mean, if I may make a silly analogy, it's like with Broadway musicals, right? If these characters don't need to be singing, don't write a music, don't make them sing. And I feel like this is a case of like, what is the story? What is the core? Why do you want to move me as the person paying money to engage with your entertainment? And I just feel like if your answer is because somebody told us we gotta do a thing with these characters, now we'll write the story. I'm not there. I think a lot of us aren't there anymore. It feels almost jaded.
Yeah, it's cynical and it's instantly recognizable. Like, I think we can all get it
right out.
And there's some talented people that can, I think, overcome that through sheer force of will and creativity. But I think it's also very easy for those people to get alienated in a process that is like not conducive to them. And I think that's, gaming is always at risk of falling on that side of the line, because it is like, it's a hit-driven business, and that has certain connotations of like the kinds of games that people think can be safe bets. And then we end up here. It's like a big brand with people with guns.
It takes so long to make a game too. Like that's the other thing that fires me up is it's like you can't turn around. Like it's almost impossible to predict a hit. You just said, right? Like games are hit. It's like a hit driven business where like they need these huge windfalls of cash to sort of make this occur. But it takes too effing long to make the game. It's again, it takes too long to make everything, but like a game takes really long, and you kind of can't reverse core. You can't ugly Sonic. Right? You can't ugly Sonic. The movie could unugly Sonic.
I mean,
but a game,
there's one developer that could, and it's Nintendo, and they did that with Breath of the Wild, where it's like they were making a different game.
Yeah.
And then they like halfway through, they're like, we like maybe came up with an idea that we need to build this whole game around, and we're gonna stop development, and we're gonna make an entirely different game. And that's Nintendo, and nobody else is Nintendo. And so it's nobody
else gets that level of trust because Nintendo's itself. Yes. And I say all of this, and I'm critical of a game like this, again, as someone who doesn't work in the industry, but someone who consumes it all, is I hear it, and I'm like, I'm so sympathetic to these people who kind of have a corporate boot on their neck of what they're being asked to make and how they're being asked to bring back money. But it's never conducive. And people are too smart, and things cost too much money, and people just won't. And people are also mean as fuck, and they'll make fun of your game on the internet so hard. And
it's a defense mechanism. Yeah, it's a defense. We $70 is a lot of money, and people are like, if any excuse I can use to avoid feeling the need to pay, to avoid the FOMO, I'm going to take it. And that means a lot of times being mean to stuff, mean to products, because it's like that. I can put it in that little box where it's a joke to me, and that's how I know I don't care about it. And so it's like, man, and that's so easy to fall into that. So. These games, these massive, $100 million bets. That's playing with fire. And but what other choice do they have? Because it's like this is the model. The game's got to get bigger. They have to be more expensive because everyone else is making their games more expensive, and you have to compete. And if you hit, it can look like Hogwarts Legacy, and it can make a lot of money. And so it's like they're still incentivized to do this. And but it feels unsustainable, and it feels like it's all gonna just go bad. And like. One big blunder from a company like from like a WB, and so I think they're like, well, we don't make games anymore. We're just going to completely change it. So it's like, it's a risky model. All right, Ubisoft Plus is coming to Xbox, but at what cost? That cost is actually $18 per month.
Oh,
because I think you have to pay. You have to pay for the version that gets you both the Xbox games and the PC games. That's the only way to do this. And so that's $18 per month on top of if you get Game Pass Ultimate at $15 per month. That doesn't.
How are you going to do that?
No,
How are you
going to do
it? Ubisoft games, I think listen, I follow Cheap Ass Gamer and Wario64 on Twitter. I know what happens to Ubisoft games really quick after they come out. They go on sale.
Oh yeah.
What are we doing?
Let's just make it like make a cold hard value assessment. It's like, okay, I pay $15 and I get, however many games on Game Pass. Whatever the Ubisoft Plus is surely does not have as many, right?
No.
I mean, if you're into that Ubisoft model, then maybe. But if you're into that, like everything's Far Cry, everything's Assassin's Creed, and I also want to play the Watch Dogs games, you probably already have bought those games. It's a tough sell. I think they know that. I think they also like.
So if they know that, then what are they?
I think they want to establish like a baseline of like this is what this is worth, so that when and they get what subscribers they can, so they have some ground to negotiate when the Microsofts and the Tencents and the Amazons come to them are like, hey, we want to like renegotiate or negotiate bringing you into our fold. I mean, they already have an Amazon Luna channel that you can subscribe to or whatever, but that's like Amazon's only going to pay so much for that because it's not worth that much to them. But I think they want to be like, Microsoft is eventually going to come give us money to put this in Game Pass. We want to at least have like establish some ground of like, this is what we can do on our own instead of just like going in there like the way EA did. I mean, I guess EA was out on their own for a while too, but yeah. So I think this is just like a long-term play before they get folded into something bigger.
Can I redeem my Ubisoft points for a month of Ubisoft Plus?
Sorry.
No, but you can get some like shirts that say Ubisoft Lyon in Trials HD.
Yeah.
Okay.
Would you like a Rabbids coaster?
Hey, you jest, but that'd be pretty sick.
Real quick, Playdate has sold 50,000 units, which is more than the 20,000 they were expecting.
Oh.
And Capcom is going to fix the ray tracing in Resident Evil 2 and 3 on Steam.
Oh,
which
nice.
They broke, and now they're gonna bring it back.
All right, cool.
So good news. That does it for the news, though. That was I sped run it for you, Jan. Tell me about my points. How many points?
You get the 30 that you already promised to get, but you also get the 5 that I gave to Bacalar.
Fuck yeah!
Whoa! I just had a 5-point swing for no reason.
Hell yeah!
You caught a stray.
Points.
You caught a stray. I'm sorry. I didn't mean for you to catch a stray,
points.
but it just happened.
All right, Jan. How many fucking points do you have?
That's like
bud?
when you cover someone else's paint
the points.
In Splatoon.
It's like
I'm sorry.
It's like the points, it's like we're playing D&D. Like the Dungeon Master's not going to get any points. I got no skin in the game. I benefit from
fair. I can't argue.
I benefit from no one winning the podcast point race, I think the little gimmicks actually have the most.
I think they still have the most for sure. Jan, I'm handing the show back over to you now.
Well, I'm going to take it and then I'm going to look at the clock and realize, oh no, I have a call to make soon. And I'm going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with some emails, and some shout-outs. Email, probably, right after this break. I feel like Alex Boniello is probably the right person to ask. Alex, I'm done with the hair. I don't want to do the pomp anymore. What should I do?
I don't know. I liked the 2 years I had long hair.
Okay.
It was fun.
Okay.
Oh, poor Grub, still like real in pain.
That must be nice, yeah.
Yeah, it was fun. I mean, I had a different experience because I was literally being paid to not cut it. But so if it ever looked dumb, I could be like, "Well, it's my job." So I don't know what to tell you, but yeah, all that product.
Okay.
I just said it was my brand, and that's how I got it. And that's my personal brand.
Bro,
you look
kind
great.
of forgot what you look like with long hair now, dude.
Which one are you talking to? Which one of us are you talking to?
Well, Alex, all the posters on my wall
okay,
remind
so
me.
you just look it up and see. Yeah, you never forget.
But I want it to come back. How long are we looking at there, bud?
I mean, listen, I cut it in December, and it's already kind of getting curly. So not long. Probably by the end of this year, it's going to be significantly long.
Okay. All right.
It'll hang. It'll hang a little bit.
It'll hang.
Actually, it's going to look like my mom's hair for a while here.
I don't know what that means.
Okay. I'm
going to look like a lady. That's what it means.
Okay. A very nice lady. 2 podcast points to Mama Grub.
There you go.
Okay, Mama Grub officially has more than me.
You know what?
That's awesome.
Bacalar, your dad, 12.
Oh, I just am not going to tell him that. Okay.
You can hold on to them for him. Okay. All right. Sweet Lou, you get 12. Don't worry. You'll hear this eventually. let's read one email. This email music is playing now. Email music is playing now. Piano. Should I buy a piano? Don't answer that. No one answer that. I don't know how to play the piano. Don't don't answer that. Exactly. Where am I going to put it?
A guitar.
Jen, here's what I'm going to say.
Yes.
Go ahead, get yourself a keyboard, and
no.
whenever you're thinking about playing that branded crime game, you sit down and you make yourself play some piano.
I like that.
You know,
man.
You know,
self-betterment. That never works.
Wow. All right, Alex, continuing to be game of the week. Wow, look at that. All right, this email comes from Jerry in Wisconsin. Hey, Bombers. With the upcoming release of another mainline Zelda game, I was wondering what y'all think the chances of Link finally speaking are. Not full voice acting, but perhaps a cutscene at the end of the game or something similar where he finally says a line or two, keeping the game vague in case of spoilers, but another major Nintendo franchise had their usually silent character finally speak in the latest entry, and it was awesome. I think having Link finally talk, even for a moment, would be one of the biggest surprises Nintendo could give us. So what I'm really asking is, will Link say, well, excuse me, princess, before the game cuts to credits or not? Cheers, Jerry in Wisconsin.
He'll turn to the camera and say, these truly were the adventures of Zelda.
Yeah.
It's going to fade to black and white, and then he's just going to whisper, Tears of the Kingdom. And then just black, and then like a sick guitar solo. Yeah.
What a question. They've booked themselves into a corner here.
Yeah.
With Link, because I think no matter what you do, you're going to upset somebody, right? And this goes back to the movie question. Can you imagine a film? Because the problem is, how do you make the protagonist of your film, for example, never speak, right? So at some point, this guy's got to talk. Or, now stay with me, he doesn't. And we make that kind of movie we were just talking about, where it's this like gorgeously like hand-painted animation, this film, and he doesn't speak. I still think it works. I mean, Breath of the Wild, I still thought it worked. And my even spicier take is I actually didn't like when they talked in Breath of the Wild. I thought it felt weird. I don't know what that is. Also, sidebar, I think Matt Mercer being the voice of Ganondorf is so good.
Yeah,
so happy for that dude.
Yeah, me too.
It's great casting and a dude who's like earned it with years of consistently excellent work. I think it's really great. Actually, this is tough. I don't have an answer to this. I don't.
I think you could pull it off with no voice. I do.
I think if it's a Ghibli style, then yes, that would be actually.
I often think that Link and Totoro are the same character anyway, and Totoro didn't speak.
Right.
Totoro,
yeah,
right.
I mean, there's been plenty of narrative film that have like not had a character speak, and
Kirby had 100 episodes of an anime and he never spoke English.
You know,
this is such a weird pull. But how much does like Baby Driver talk? Right, like
none.
I'm just thinking about the movie Baby Driver. I'm thinking of a like clearly led by someone in an action focused film, and everyone around him is doing the talking, and he's perceiving and responding to it with his action. I don't know why that's the movie that came to mind, but
Backlar, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say, isn't that new Charlie Day movie? Like
that's what I was gonna bring up. He's primarily silent through like
definitely. It feels like a forgive the analogy, but like a Woody Allen kind of idea when it comes to comedy of like just leading the main silent character along and kind of like doing that sort of thing. But yeah, like that is what Charlie Day seems to have done for sure.
So what you're saying is you love Woody Allen?
Only his personal life choices. That's it.
Right. This is one of those questions that like, don't you sometimes say to yourself, man, I'm glad I'm not the dude who's got to make that choice.
Let's be clear here though. Like we all are kind of like just pondering when they make a Zelda movie, they're going to make it the most commercial possible movie, right? It is going to be, he's not going to be silent, and they are going to have him talk, and if it's going to be a normal action adventure fantasy film.
That's
or Netflix show or whatever.
Probably. And again, if we're going back to talking about like, you know, again, if in Tears of the Kingdom for some reason we don't know that they've hired, you know, whoever is the voice of Link. If Link talks, I guarantee I'll be like, ugh. and then I will stop caring about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's like whatever,
every time.
dude.
Yep, totally.
Tom Holland as Link. There you go.
Nope.
Harvey
Harvey
if
Keitel.
he's actually British.
Let's.
How about
Okay.
Harvey?
Zendaya
Fire-
as Link.
Harvey Fierstein?
Fierstein.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay, now we're talking.
Zelda. How are you, darling?
Yes.
Oh, we gotta do something about your hair.
It's like skips
That's
from
good.
regular show. Let's do it. Hell yeah.
Oh, Zendaya is Michi. That's right, Nylock. That's right.
Holy shit.
That about does it for this week's emails. If you want to send an email, you can send it to bombcast@giantbomb.com. We actually got a bunch of emails. We're just on a little bit of a time crunch this week. Hey, this popped up in my head. Danny McBride as Wario. Huh?
I like it a lot.
Yeah.
I do like that. I like Danny McBride. I've never loved in these movies, but I think he'd be a good fit for like a character like that and just popping up. That'd be great.
You know, Kieran Culkin as Link. Yes, let's do that. Let's do that. Instead.
Oh, like a super neurotic fucking Link.
Can I?
You know,
I,
what the fuck?
I did do the thing. I watched.
Sure.
I haven't seen any Succession, and I did just watch the latest episode.
Matt
Wait, what?
Berry. Matt Berry
Yes.
as King DDD.
Oh,
dude.
that's real good.
What's that thing he says? New York City.
City.
I was doing that to myself in the car when I was driving. I was saying that line.
He's like,
Devious
look at
bastards in New York City.
I am the one in Dreamland.
Escargoon.
Watch Toast of London. Watch Toast of London. That's all I can say.
That's good.
Cut the
but I
check.
do want people to I want to give people the real chance to get mad at me. Yes, I haven't seen any Succession except for the most recent episode.
That
That's
is
all I've
so
seen.
psychotic of you to
I
watch.
actually
it.
just feel, you know what? It's a funny bit, but I actually feel bad that you've taken this series off the table for yourself.
No,
Seriously.
I did this with not like as a bit. I just happened to like back then. It was like you caught the show when you caught the show. So people were talking about Sopranos at work, and I caught like the most of the last season, and that's the first Sopranos I ever watched. And eventually, I watched the whole season. And I loved it. I have a pretty bad memory though, so that helps. But that show seems okay.
I just coming in now, especially with what's going on in that season, it's just like I can't believe that. Just real quick, holy shit, Jan, tell me you've been watching Mrs. Maisel season 5.
Let me tell you, I have been.
I am blown. I've only watched the first 2. I am floored as to how good these first 2 episodes are.
It's the last
Mrs.
season,
Maisel.
right? So they have to come out swinging. All right, yeah.
Oh my! And they're doing a thing. They're doing like a different thing. I love it. Oh my god. Oh my fucking god.
Hey, I would say everyone should watch Beef, but because of some stuff that's come to the surface, maybe hold off on it. But hey, Steve Young rocking a buzz cut makes me think that I can rock a buzz cut. And I got a big ass head. Before we get to shout outs, Alex Boniello, sir, thank you for joining us. I'm overjoyed.
Thank you for having me.
I can't wait to
for-
summon you in Kingdom Hearts. I'm going to make this happen. This is going to happen.
Yeah, sure. I mean, again, you could do it now if we go along with the rules that I set.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. As always, you guys are the best. Happy to be here. Am I supposed to do some sort of like?
Yeah, you know, here's
closing
like the
plug?
plugs.
let's
Like,
hear it.
where can folks
say it one more
find
time.
you? Let's talk about Foul Play one more time.
Great. You can find me on all social media platforms as my name, just at Alex Boniello. Please check out Foul Play, foulplay.live. Watch it with your friends. You know, try one. Just try one. We're trying to do a thing where if you buy one, we're figuring out how to do this with our ticketing. You buy one for $9.99, and then we can retroactively get you that discount.
Ooh.
In case you're like,
Oh,
actually,
sure.
I liked this. I'd like to watch all of them. So we're figuring that out
What
internally.
is the
That'd be
word
great.
for that? The not post date. There's a word for that.
Yeah.
Something. Yeah, like
Yeah,
a
there's a
retroactive discount. I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever. Let's see. Last week, my character debuted on Ghosts on CBS. If you could go ahead and if you watch that show, or if you don't, check out that episode on Paramount Plus. And if you could be loud on the internet about how much you loved my character, I would like
Prorated.
that.
Sorry.
Yeah. Prorated.
Prorated.
Sure.
Okay.
Man. Okay, sorry.
I don't know
Shrek.
if it's it. That's right. You know, they made me think of like plankton crabs, plankton claps, SpongeBob. That's what made me think of. And yeah, I don't know. Keep supporting the good folks at Giant Bomb. They're
you're too
really
kind.
great.
You're too kind. All right, boyos. Now it's time for the shout outs. This is all on the living Google Doc. I'm going to shut it down immediately after this. Shouts out to Adam Sadler, and then Adam Snadler, Adam Sandals, Sadam Andals, Madam Danzler, Huel Hot and Savory, nodding vigorously, Alex, Kingdom Hearts Canon Boniello, Hollywood Alex Boniello, Alex, co-author of the acclaimed children's book Case of the Zaps, Boniello, Tronald Duck, Shrek 4, That Dead Island Bust, except it has a head, legs, and arms, but no torso. Robo Mitch, boo. Crime, trademark. Give Mike a job.wordpress.com. I hope I don't regret saying that. Shouts out to Brian G and Dr. Emily P from Chef Bob for buying your first house in San Francisco. I wish that could be me. Peaches by the President of the United States of America. Ray Vines, delighting the customer trademark. Okay, you can't automatically keep adding more.
Yeah,
it doesn't work like that.
My bud Des for clipping that part where Jan says Sir 5000, you slut. The New Jersey Devils. Okay, everyone's adding more. We can't add any more. Shouts out to you, the folks at home. Shouts out to Alex. Shouts out to Grub. Shouts out to Bacalar. And hey, tune in for the rest of the week on giantbomb.com. Bunch of stuff popping off. Another installment of Four Swords Fiesta connecting to you tomorrow, as well as more Blight Club, Robo Mitch. Boo! Also, we have a lovely video of Dance Time at WrestleMania coming out soon. The travelogue to Universal Parts 1 and 2 coming out very, very soon. Place your wet bets now, folks, because it's not about to get wet.
There's some winners and there's some losers.
It got mad wet. It got mad wet.
Yes, it did.
Yes.
And it just gallons, right? Straight down.
It's gallons. I want to share it, but it's going to spoil the bag.
Yeah.
And hey, thank you for being you. I got to go jump on a call, and I love you. Hugs, kisses, friendly, platonic hands on the back. Just like comforting concentric circles. I'm going to play the music right
top of the shoulder.
Now.
Right there.
Is it playing? There, it's playing. Sorry for the short episode. We'll give you a fat episode next week.
Yeah, we'll go hard.
We're going to play so many games. There's going to be 2 games of the week.
Yeah.
I'm going to put this on screen now. All right. The Giant Bombcast is here, and it's now gone. Right now. Where can we send these folks to?